Howdy everyone, welcome back to Wobble Enjoy Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you're a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Last weekend, had a perfect Saturday and then had a couple of upset losses, but then the Newcastle Knights put me back to 4 correct tips out of 6 last weekend. Let's get stuck into the next round. Round number 4 of the 2025 NRLW season. Round 4 starts on Saturday at 12:45 p.m. The Warriors host the Gold Coast Titans at Go Media Stadium. The Wars, they are $1.68. The Gold Coast Titans, they are $2.19. There are changes here for the Warriors. So halfback Emily Curtin is out. Therefore, Turua Quedley is going to be starting for the first time this year in at halfback. We've also got Fotu Mawala, who is named as 18th player for the Warriors, so she might very well come into the fold as well. For the Gold Coast Titan, Georgia Hale returns to the lock position as well, and Arakua has been named on the reserves, and Fui Mayono still sits as jersey number 18 as well. The Gold Coast Titans getting their first win of the season against the West Tigers. Tigers, they were in the lead there, but then for a 15-minute patch, maybe in the final 20 minutes, for 15 minutes of the final 20 minutes, the Gold Coast Titans just went, we're activating now because we need to walk away with the 2 points. So it was kind of graphic how quickly they were able to turn the tide. But this is at Go Media Stadium against the Warriors. Warriors showed that they are going to be a very different side. Already, even after one game, they have showed that they are going to be a very different team at home. So I think I'm going to give the edge here to the Warriors, who were able to score 20 points against the Newcastle Knights in Newcastle this past weekend. So Warriors 1-12 for me. The second game of Super Saturday is from Allianz Stadium at 3:15 in the afternoon. The Roosters versus the Bulldogs for the first time in NRLW. The Roosters come into the game as the favourites, $1.20, and then the Bulldogs, they are $4.45. The Roosters last weekend, easily their best performance of the year. One of the better games of NRLW of the season so far. Seriously impressive stuff. I know that they switched off in that patch in the second half that allowed the Broncos to really come back roaring in that second half, but the Roosters were able to hold on and prevail. The Roosters, very, very impressive stuff from them. The big news for them, however, is in the form of what looks like on the reserves. Taryn Aiken has been named on the reserves here for the Sydney Roosters. That is absolutely enormous news for them. Just when you think they couldn't get better, well, Taryn Aiken possibly could be returning to the NRLW this weekend. We've also got returning for the Bulldogs on the other side of the coin here. Tiakaran Katoa returns after serving a suspension. Moana Courtney has also come back from an injury, so she will be coming back into the centres. And that's just about it for the Bulldogs, besides a couple of names on the reserves there. For the Bulldogs, they went down to the Dragons, basically in another buzzer beater game. So that was against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. They didn't play bad footy. It was actually a pretty good game of footy against the Dragons, but this is a completely new level. It's against the Sydney Roosters, the champions. They were seriously impressive last weekend, and I'm going to go the Sydney Roosters to win this game. I'll go 1-12. The third game on Super Saturday is from 5:15 p.m. up at Townsville QCB Stadium. The Cowboys host the Raiders. The Cowboys are $1.29. The Raiders, they are $3.57. The Raiders got more of a chance in the minds of Sportsbet over the Cowboys than what the Bulldogs have over the Roosters. I don't know, man. With much due respect to the Raiders, they are the worst team so far in the NRLW. Their defense is it's not good, to put it nicely. Meanwhile, for the North Queensland Cowboys, they went down to Shark Park and got a famous victory. Arguably their best victory in their NRLW history. It was a fantastic, cracking contest. Mackenzie Wheel, S.A. Barnu, really leading from the front as well. Crystal Blackwell, despite a couple of errors, she was critical. She was that last pass that was critical in a couple of different stages as well. Absolutely fantastic. Also, Bree Chester was awesome. I thought Alicia Ford came on and elevated them even more so. Not saying Emma Manselman had a bad game at all. I'm just saying Alicia Ford did fantastically well to come on and just lift the team there just that fraction more. And speaking of lifting the team, Jakaya Whitfeld does return this weekend after a hamstring complaint, so she's going to be playing at fullback. Unfortunately, Kira Dibb has been named still on the reserves, so it is a dropping. It is a dropping by Coach Vicky Henry. For the Canberra Raiders, there are some changes, but first of all, shout out to Elise Simpson. I thought she was fantastic for such a young lady. I thought she really held her own at fullback last weekend, despite what the scoreline says. Isabel Waterman is out, so Mackenzie Wiki shifts to the Sting with Tafanga Robbins-Reddy in the centres. We've also got a returning Emma Barnes and Karatina Matua, who are both coming off the interchange bench. Cowboys 13+. Moving into the Sunday games, and match number 4 for the weekend is Parramatta versus Newcastle from Eric Tweedale Stadium. Parramatta $2.25. The Newcastle Knights are at $1.65. I think that this is actually one of the 2 games in contention for game of the weekend. This could be an absolute cracker between these 2 sides. So going into the team list now, so Fa'am Masili is out for the Parramatta Eels there, and what does that mean for their interchange? So Paige Travis is coming off the interchange. Jackson Murphy and Arlo are starting in the back row. Brianna Eels, Elsie Albert, Fleur Jin. So just a lot of names that have been named on the reserves there, but everything else is pretty much unchanged for the Parramatta Eels. Moving into the Newcastle Knights, and it looks like it is unchanged after last weekend. Yeah, so both of these sides are unchanged after last weekend's performances. Parramatta Eels, fantastic against the Canberra Raiders. The Newcastle Knights, they got the job done, didn't they? They were pretty convincing in the end. They still leaked 20, but they were pretty convincing in the end. This is the biggest game for the Parramatta Eels so far in 2025. If they can get the job done, and I think they can. I'm not giving my tip away early there, but I think if Parramatta Eels can get the dub against Newcastle, I think it'll just give them the confidence that they need, the injection. Not that they need any more confidence, but just a fraction more belief. And I think that will take them to the finals, especially when you consider that Kennedy Charrington is about a week or 2 away from coming back into this team. Yeah, this is a massive, massive game. If Newcastle Knights can go down and beat the Parramatta Eels, who are a team that you just don't want to play at the moment because such is their form, it'll give them even greater confidence as well. So this is a great game. I'm wanting to call it as well, just singular, just by myself. So I've been tipping some upsets recently, and I think this might be the one. They're going to be up for it. It's at Eric Tweedale. I think they've played each other once there before. It's a massive risk. It's a massive tip. But I think the Parramatta Eels, led by Rachel Pearson, who was arguably the best player in the competition to start the season, I think Parramatta Eels could get the dub. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to say the Parramatta Eels win this game 1-12 against the Newcastle Knights. The second game on Super Saturday is from 1:45 p.m. at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. The St. George Illawarra Dragons host the Brisbane Broncos. The Dragons, they are $3.25. The Broncos, they are $1. 35. And this is the other game of the weekend that I'm really looking forward to as well. The Dragons, they've beaten the Raiders and they've beaten the Bulldogs, some teams that I personally didn't see cracking the top 6, even though the Bulldogs have been pretty impressive to start. But they went down to the Roosters in a plucky sort of a game, and this is another contest where the Dragons can reprove themselves, so that where they can really get some confidence by beating arguably the best team in the competition, even though the Broncos went down to the Roosters last weekend in a pretty good game, but defensively the Broncos were all over the shop. It was kind of stunning to see how much they leaked against the Sydney Roosters last week and the Broncos. So for the St. George Illawarra Dragons, Vella and Gregory are on the Stings, with Bostock and Brown in the centres. So Bobby Law still out due to injury. The forward pack here, we've got Charlotte Basham in at jersey number 12. She returns. And then for the interchange, that's just about it. Actually, that's just about it. So for the Brisbane Broncos now, Brianna Clark returns. She starts alongside Keely Joseph in the front row. Lauren Dam is in for Tara McGrath-West, who's out with a foot injury. And then Skylar Adams is in jersey number 17. She is a under-19s or a former under-19s State of Origin representative for Queensland. They've been good to me. The Dragons have been good to me. I don't think I've been incorrect whenever I've tipped them this year so far. But unfortunately, I think after that embarrassing loss, maybe embarrassing is a little bit too strong of a word, but after that shock loss to the Roosters last weekend, the way they lost, I think the Broncos will come back firing, and I think they'll go down to WIN Stadium in Wollongong and get the dub. Brisbane Broncos are going to win this game 1-12. And the final game of round number 4 in the NRLW is from Shark Park. It's the Sharks versus the West Tigers. Sharks, they are $1.20. The West Tigers, they are $4.50. Changes for both of these sides. And Nessa Biddle comes back in. She plays at centre. The forward pack for the Sharkies, Tucker Patolo starts due to Jacinta Carter suffering a concussion. She was in the wars last weekend, was Jacinta Carter. And the interchange reads Weeks, Tafua, Davis Welsh and Stephanie Faulkner. Keep in mind that Tyler King has been named on the reserves there for the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, so she could be a late, very, very special inclusion. For the West Tigers, there's changes in amongst it all. Jessica Reeves comes back from a concussion. She is in jersey number 14. Salma Nua is starting in jersey 17. Berryman Duff starts at hooker in jersey number 9. The halves pairing this weekend is Manara and Lutu. Therefore, Evie McGrath has been dropped down to the reserves. And the Stings, Caitlin Turnbull and Nilsson. And the centres are Tet Tamaki and Emily Bass for the West Tigers. And Amelia Hakau is in at the lock position. Disappointing from the West Tigers last weekend. They found themselves in front against the Titans, and then they just couldn't hold on when the Titans decided to change gears. And then for the Sharkies, they didn't play badly last weekend. It was a very, very good game of footy, but just luck's of fortune. The Cowboys walked away with a dub last weekend, but they're welcoming back Nessa Biddle this weekend. West Tigers, they're yet to get a win this year, and I think that will continue, unfortunately, for them. I'm going to go the Cronulla Sharks to win this game 13+. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please stay tuned for some live streams that are happening this weekend, and I'll see you guys next week in another Ace High Tip show. Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care. Adios.